Oh, snap. It's time to yap. And I'm your host, Big C, and welcome to another episode of Just Yapping. Before I begin this episode, I want to give a big shout out to a good friend of mine, Jeff Fortier from the Boston area. Now he called me. We spoke. We didn't actually talk. We texted, but usually when we get the opportunity, we do talk. He's from the Boston area, so I was just busting his chops on the Knicks and Celtics every time we get the opportunity to talk about New York versus Boston teams, Red Sox, Yankees, Bruins and the Rangers. It's a lot of fun. We've been friends for probably 40 something years. We met in the American football, the young guys, the midget football, American football, and we've been friends since. When we were growing up, we would take turns going to visit one another. Like in the fall, the football team would go visit the team in Massachusetts, and we would stay the weekend. The families would house, each kid, or like the cheerleaders, the girls, they would house the girls in. And if you got along with the person you stayed with, you'd request them for the following year. So when they came to New York, they would stay with you. So Jeff and I have been friends since then. We haven't been staying over each other's houses from saying in the young times we did when we were younger, but we still keep in touch, and it's been really cool. It's nice to bust each other's chops from time to time. So this one's for Jeff. All right. So today's episode is going to be on motorcycles. Beware of motorcycles. So I want everyone who drives a motorcycle, excuse me, I should say rides a motorcycle. I don't want anybody to send the comments or anything like that. I'm not saying anything in a derogatory manner or fashion. I actually have a lot of friends who have ridden motorcycles or still ride motorcycles, and I just give a lot of props to those who ride and that are very careful in what they do. So the reason why I bring up this topic, in the last few years, there's been a lot of accidents that I have seen. When I was a fireman, there were some horrible accidents that I've seen. Not too long ago, right here where I live, not too far away, there was a horrible hit and run accident with a motorist and a motorcycle rider. Unfortunately, that guy passed away, but it's really, really sad. So, the summertime here in the United States is kicking off, where other places in the world you're going to be getting into the winter months. Some places around the world, obviously, like here in New York, you're going to get days, especially in December. You're going to get days which are like, really nice. You technically have 3 months, right, of riding, maybe even four. So we'll say like the springtime, once like the end of March, maybe April or so, from April to maybe, you can really push it maybe to like October or so. But again, there's some times and some days where I've seen motorcycle riders literally on a nice day in December, and they're out there riding because that's what they love to do. With that being said, there's a lot of things out there, especially road hazards. You have your potholes, and you have your dirt, and you have your sand, and you have your stuff from, like, if it snows on the ground and it was just left, from the months before, and anything could really be harmful to your riding experience, right? Um, especially again, getting back into the summer months of riding motorcycle, they're groups, and I'm not going to call them gangs. They're motorcycle groups that wear their vests, and they're doing their thing, which is really cool, and they represent their organization. And there's some who are the individual riders. Sometimes the individual riders mess it up for the ones who are trying to do it the right way, right? The crotch rockets, which we call them, the speed bikes, the fast bikes. You have those, and you have the cruisers, the big cruisers, which is the big Harleys and the big expensive ones that guys like to chill on, and put a partner on the back of the bike and just cruise for the day, which is really nice. I have seen, and this is where this is where this discussion could be, an up and down for me, because I have driven. There's been many times that I've driven my vehicle, four wheels, right? And we are like in traffic or at a red light and stuff like that, and you get guys to push their way in between the cars, whether they hit your mirror. Now, they haven't hit my mirror. I'm just saying in general, whether they hit your mirror or not. And, there's no repercussions on that. That's, people work hard just like you do to get things. And then, you don't like the way somebody did something, and then you pop off their side mirror, or you kick, a dent into their car and stuff. That's not cool. But, it hasn't happened to me. I hope it never happens to me. I'm just, more, because what I usually do is, if I see a motorcycle rider coming up in between, I'll move over a little bit, But see, by me being cautious of moving over, I don't know if that person's riding with a partner and he's on the other side. So I'd be afraid to like be more cautious, to look over and not see the other person. God forbid I hit somebody. I hope I never do. But those are the different things that I kind of don't care for. There's some guys who actually like take their time, weaving in and out of the cars. And there's sometimes that guys just fly through it. They don't care. All right. Um, in the past, I've also seen, guys riding wheelies. I have my son, my cousin's son. He's, he rides wheelies on Harleys. He puts it at 12 o'clock, and he does his thing, and it's a lot of people like his Instagram page, and it's cool and stuff. And I always pray that, nothing happens to him or any of his other friends that they ride with. But, that's what they like to do. And a lot, he's getting a lot of likes and a lot of views and stuff. And they have their they have their fun. Riding a motorcycle is just like anything else, your recreation, and people enjoy it. People enjoy that freedom, that adrenaline rush, and those things. On a personal level, I've seen, I had a friend of mine who I worked with very close. I'm almost called, as like my brother to me, a younger brother. He had a motorcycle, and he had put his motorcycle away because his best friend was in a motorcycle accident. He was in a motorcycle accident, and he was in recovery for about 3 months, just in the hospital alone. So he had told me, hey, listen, since he had crashed, I'm going to put my bike away. I'm not even going to ride it. So granted, he did it. He put it away for about, a year and a half, until he decided to sell his motorcycle, and he posted it online. And a young man who was going into the army needed to get around the base. I think he was going to Germany. He decided to buy the bike, and the kid took the bike to Germany, when he was in the army. Fast forward, a couple of years go by, and he's like, hey, do me a favor, come with me real quick. I got to show you something. So we go to his house, and he opens his garage door, and sitting inside the garage was a motorcycle. So I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, I knew one day you'd get back, and I'd just be careful on that thing, because there's a lot of craziness going on there. And mind you, years prior to that, he would tell me, oh, I got a flat tire. Come with me. I ran over a brick, that was in the road, or, just weird stuff, So, okay, fine. You do your thing. You're an adult, do your thing. So fast forward, we were at work one Thursday. It was beautiful out. And, we were talking about motorcycles, and we were actually making a joke. We were talking about Purple Rain and Prince and his motorcycle and all that stuff. So another gentleman that we work with, he brought his motorcycle into the shop, and he actually decided to change his exhaust pipe. So it gave the idea to my friend, boom, I'm going to go riding. So we had a fire department class that evening, and it was like 7 or 8 of us, but he didn't go because he had already applied himself into other classes, including like EMT courses and stuff like that. So he was busy with that. But the class that we were in, he didn't get on. Not that he didn't get on, he didn't apply because he was doing other things. So he decided to ride his motorcycle, and the last time we ever heard from him, because unfortunately, from the story, he was riding, and a lady had made a kind of like an illegal not illegal U-turn, but just a U-turn just to get back to where she was going, and he hit her car, and I was a young 24-year-old good friend. So fast forward, the gentleman who still works with us now, I'm not going to say replaced him because he's never going to replace him, but he like kind of like took his job over, and he also rides a motorcycle. So when he first came onto the job, we told him, hey, listen, we know you ride a motorcycle. You're young. You're in your young 20s and stuff. Just be careful on that thing because we don't want to have to relive losing somebody again on a motorcycle. And it's to the point where it's not always the motorcycle rider. It's usually other people not paying attention, correct? So fast forward, it was after a big storm here in New York. It was it could have been remnants of a hurricane, and the day after the hurricane, there was still sand on the road from, everything washing up on the shore, and rocks and all that other stuff. And it really hadn't cleared out. So this gentleman had brand new slick tires on his thing that he wanted to test out. So he tested it out the day after the storm. And I think that the person my friend who had passed away, was actually looking out for this young man who he didn't know, because he said when he crashed his motorcycle, the only thing he remembers is a doctor putting a tourniquet around his arm. And he felt like that was an angel that had come to like help and save him. The doctor had put a tourniquet on his arm because the kid who was riding his motorcycle slipped, or just went off the road, slipped on like light gravel and sand, and went underneath a guardrail. But at the same time going underneath the guardrail, he tried to break his slide by catching himself with the guardrail, but it literally almost severed his arm. He has like all these really nasty scars. His time in the hospital is about 2.5, 3 months. His rehab was I think he's still in rehab, and that happened maybe 4 years ago. So he has to relive that from time to time. And we joke around because he likes to arm wrestle us. Sometimes we call him the $1 Million Man because he has a titanium plate in his arm, and he has all these wicked scars and all that other stuff. But, it's something to think about, and after I heard about that accident, I'm like, oh God, here we go all over again to relive the last tragedy that happened to us at our shop. So, on a lighter note, you never know how fast a motorcycle goes when you're actually next to one that just zooms by. So my wife, I had to pick up my wife one day from the airport. She was coming home from Texas visiting some of her girlfriends from high school. When they were in high school back in the day. And, it was a nice day. I had my window rolled down. I had my pimp shades on. I'm just driving, hanging out. Music was not loud, but, I'm able to hear it while the window's down, and I'm driving all nice. And lo and behold, honestly, I didn't see him. I just heard him when he came by. I think I don't know if I know I started sweating, and I think I might have shorted a little bit, or maybe had a little piss spritzer. Just everything happened. I hot flash, and I almost went off the road. And I was like, and this guy was moving. This guy must have been doing $120, maybe $140. He was flying. The guy dude was flying. But here I am mad at him because he zoomed by me, and I smelled his exhaust fumes and all that. Like, that's how close I felt like he was. But it just scared the crap out of me. My heart almost came out of my chest. It was crazy. But then you have, again, you have guys that just kind of like don't care of the rules of the road and just do whatever they want. That's kind of like not cool, because you're only on two wheels, and it doesn't take much to lose control, and it's sad to say. I would hate to see anybody, lose control. I remember when my little guy was probably not even a year old, and I seen a wicked motorcycle accident, And stupid me, I don't know why, but I get out to help to see if the guy's okay, and my son is in the car, in his car seat, and like traffic is zooming, and I'm not even. I was. It's gonna sound sad, but like, or bad to say, but like, I was thinking about this guy and this motorcycle instead of like my own little guy, and I'm like, let me go back to my son. And it was really crazy. You do see, especially now in the summertime here, right? Especially in New York, when the days get nice, like they are starting to, you're not even going to see one bike. You're going to see hundreds of bikes. They're going to meet up somewhere and they're going to enjoy themselves, and they're going to go out for a cruise, and they're going to take up every lane in traffic and not let you get by. And, those are the things that come with the territory, especially when there's like 100 motorcycle riders and it's you or you and your family, or, things one can get out of hand because we're upset as motorists, because we want to get to one place, and then you got guys zigzagging in and out of traffic and causing ruckus, and, and it is what it is. Not only do we have to be aware of you, motorcycle riders, you also have to be aware of us, the motorists, because we all know, you have two wheels, and motorcycles are meant to be driven or ridden fast. We know that. But you also have to be cognizant of what's going on around you, right? Because some people, I'm not going to say all motorcycle riders, some people just finished leaving a bar and you had a couple of cocktails and stuff like that. Now you want to get on two wheels and ride, just let alone four, which, still is a headache if something happens to you while driving, a car with four wheels. Just imagine two wheels, right? The control is a little different. You know, I've even been to like places like Connecticut, which I don't understand, in Florida, or just some states that do not require you to wear a motorcycle helmet. I don't understand that. I do, but then I don't. Because a motorcycle, right? You go to a safety class to learn how to ride a motorcycle. But the word safety is only the bottom half to where your head is, because there's nothing on there to protect you from falling debris or a rock, flying up from a truck, whatever it may be, to protect your cranium, to protect your brain, to protect your eyes, to protect your nose, your mouth, whatever. I seen a YouTube video, or excuse me, yeah, YouTube or Instagram. It's still there. They're still going to surface from anywhere. Thank God he was riding and he had his helmet on. So there was a like tractor trailer pulling a farm type equipment, like another tractor. And lo and behold, the tractor had like, just the rooftop, the cover flew off, hit this guy who was riding a motorcycle in the head, like boom. Thank God he had the helmet on, because if he didn't, he would have split him open, and he would have lost control. It would have been a nightmare for him. But it actually hit him, and you could see, that he kind of like gained control because he had a helmet on. He wobbled a little bit and gained control and did whatever. But I was just thinking, like, man, if he didn't have his helmet on, he would have been done. You know, I don't want the motorcycle riders to be like, hey, yo, Big C, shut your mouth. We don't wear a helmet because, and now you're going to make it. No, it's just, we like their rules, right? That they tell our little guys, when you ride a bicycle, make sure you put your helmet on. You don't want to bust your head open. But and then you get home, you have a motorcycle, and then you go out riding and you don't have a helmet. So how, that's almost like being whatever, like a jerk, because you don't have your helmet on, but you're going to tell your kids or something. I know you're an adult and you can do whatever you want, but there's rules to the road. Why wouldn't you want to protect your head, right? That's crazy to me. But anyway, listen, that's your prerogative. I'm not telling you what to do and what not to do. I'm just looking out for everybody to make sure that you're safe on that road when you ride the two-wheel beast, right? There have been I did see another Instagram video where this guy must have had beef with a minivan driver, and I'm pretty sure some of my fans out there probably have seen the same thing. The minivan driver must have had beef with the guy, and the motorcycle rider's like yelling at him, doing something, finger gesture or whatever. And the minivan hits the guy, and the guy goes flying off. So I don't know. So not only do the motorists have to watch out for you guys have to watch out for us, because especially nowadays with all this road rage, like we don't know. We want everybody who rides a motorcycle to get home and get home safely, right? Especially if you have a family with children, you want to make sure you got on, you get on your motorcycle and you go and you have fun and you come home. That's all we want. We can't sit here and we can't predict tomorrow, right? Because we never know. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. But if you can be safe, right? If you can be safe in what you do, then maybe you could have a good opportunity of returning home. And not, again, I don't want to make this episode like, sad stories of motorcycle thing. No, I want you to enjoy your two-wheel vehicle, recreation. And I want you to let the hair blow through your, let let the wind blow through your hair, not your hair blow through the wind, but it's going to do it anyway. I want you to have a good time. I want you to enjoy yourselves, especially now in the summer, because the guy's going to be looking for, if they're single, they're going to want the girlies in the back, or if the girls are single and they're riding, they're going to want a guy in the back, or whatever your flavor is. Just have fun. There's nothing, worse than hearing, again, I had one sad story in my life. I've heard of others. I did have a close, well, he's still my friend. We speak from time to time. He was a good motorcycle rider, but he doesn't ride anymore. He doesn't even think about the word motorcycle. He was riding his motorcycle, and there was a cafe with a bunch of girls sitting outside. So he's, trying to be the papi chulo. So he puts his motorcycle helmet on, but he puts it on halfway. So that way, like, you can still see his face. So he rides a wheelie, and he puts his feet on the back pegs where he's almost like standing up. The seat is like this, and he's almost at 12 o'clock standing straight up. But he doesn't see the traffic light that's red. He zooms in through the traffic light. He gets hit by a car on the side. Car wasn't going fast. He hit the car and did a couple, turns, and he got a couple of raspberries on his elbow and his butt cheek and his knee and all this and that after that. And that happened a few years ago. That happened probably more than 10 years ago. He don't ride no more, because it only takes that, maybe getting scared, to do your, I'm not going to ride anymore. The kid that I had mentioned to you about, that he almost lost his arm underneath that guardrail, he still rides. He it's not that he's young and he's fearless. It's just like, he's like, listen, it wasn't my time. It wasn't my time. He's like, I can go at any other time, and it doesn't have to be on a motorcycle, which he's totally right. We're not going to be on this earth forever, so you might as well enjoy it. But if you, like my 14-year-old not too long ago was like, hip hop, I'm thinking about getting a motorcycle. I'm like, absolutely not. You're not getting a motorcycle. When you get older and you live your life and you're all paying your rent, you want to get a motorcycle, that's on you. But he's my son. He's living under our roof. We're doing this thing. He's not getting a motorcycle. Sorry, just the way it is. So again, the summertime is coming. Please enjoy yourself on that recreational bike. Watch out for everybody else. Be careful zigzagging in and out of traffic. And again, it doesn't take much for somebody to swerve, and God forbid they don't see you, especially if a person is deaf and doesn't hear you coming. They'll see you, but it could be too late. I like, sometimes when I hear coming, boom, 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 especially in and out of like traffic, I'll tend to like move over so you have room to get by. Now, I'm one of those guys. I'm going to move over for you. I'm not going to be a jerk and try to inch in and not let you by. I'm going to let you by. Those are the things that, sometimes, I always see the guys on the motorcycle and I'm like, be safe, man. That's all. That's all I worry. I don't even know who you are. Just be safe on that thing, right? So I think this is my time. Hopefully you guys, especially the motorcycle riders, guys and gals, make sure you do the right thing. Make sure you wear the right protective gear. Those little jackets with the pads on it, the elbow pads, with the jacket and the pants with whatever, just to keep yourself safe out there, right? And don't drink and don't ride and don't do anything stupid to hurt you or hurt somebody else. All right. So do me a favor if you do get the opportunity and you go on YouTube or you go on TikTok. Please like, subscribe, and make comments on this episode or any other episode, and I'll try to answer you. All right. Let's go, Knicks. Jeff, you better swallow that one because we're gonna take Indiana too. All right. Be safe. I'm Big C. Peace.